Oh no. So it's the hottest day of the year. And what else? What more perfect thing could you do when you're driving down the road in your freshly rebuilt Audi than to turn on the aircon? Because I'm not used to having a car with aircon that actually works. None of the vehicles I own actually has running, working aircon. So the second I touch the switch to turn it on, boom. I freak out thinking the car's about to explode. It looks like it's on fire. It causes a right scene. Everybody who's walking down the road stops and stares as the car kind of grinds to a halt. And I lift the bonnet and there's just oil all over the engine bay. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. So join me today as we investigate why I have another car that doesn't have working air conditioning. Let's get stuck in. So just as a quick recap, if you've been following along for the past few weeks, we bought this Audi and we saved it from the scrapyard. As you can see at the front there, it's suffered a little bit of damage. And over the past few weeks, we're chipping away at rebuilding this thing and trying to bring it back to its former glory. Check out the video description, there'll be links in there for those videos. So when diagnosing anything like this, it's always best to start by just using your eyes. And I started following the lines around, having a bit of a look, see if there's anything obvious. And when I spotted bubbles starting to come from that damaged pipe, you can just see right there. See the bit where it looks like it's cracked? That bit there had, the first obvious sign was there was a load of oil, loads of oil residue all over the place. It's like somebody's just gone crazy with a can of WD-40. But there was actual bubbles coming out of that at the time as well, so I'm pretty certain, 100%, that is the issue, and that's the pipe we need to change by the looks of things. But fortunately, it's not the main condenser unit, which is great. But the main condenser unit is actually located just to the right of where we were just looking. So the video you just seen happened a few days ago, and I've already been on Autodoc and I've already ordered the parts that I need. So we're going to go and compare the new against the old. And it might be worth me saying at this point as well that I absolutely know nothing at all about air conditioning systems and units and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty much being guided by what I can see and what I can feel. And often when you buy stuff like this, just a quick dry run of a mock-up will do, just to kind of make sure that the pipes kind of look about the same sort of length and they bend in the same kind of way and they've got all the same sort of components and stuff, which this seems to all sort of match up. So I'm happy. I'm going to carry on. Now, the only issue I can see at this moment in time is it's incredibly tight inside the engine bay. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack by taking this vent out, and it should allow me access because the point of connection is pretty much where my finger is, just there behind the bumper. And what I don't want to have to do is to drop the whole front bumper off, or at least the front corner, just to access that little bit. But it's incredibly tight. I remember this before the bumper was on. It was a tight fit, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. I'll persevere, and I think this corner is probably the best plan of action. There it is. Whew. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's not where I thought it was going to be. Ah, damn, that's annoying. Which means my only option is to go from the top, but as you can see, I don't know if you can really see, but it's incredibly tight down there. But what I don't want to do is take the bumper off. I don't want to do all that again because it was a lot. And I put extra screws in, all the screws that were missing, I put all the extra screws in, so it's all super tight in there now. So even less reason for me to want to take it all apart. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get a T45 on that lower on that lower connection there. Yeah, I'm not going to get my tools in there. Oh, jeez, that's annoying. To crack that off, this is going to be ridiculous, to be fair. There's so little room. Oh, God. I knew that was going to happen. It's alright. The engine cover's got it, so I just need to take the engine cover off to get it back. That's really annoying. Okay, so that's out. So with the car up in the air and the wheels off the ground, it allowed me to kind of get a little bit of better access to the back of the radiator, and I was actually able to unscrew and extract the retaining bolt, which was great news. So with both the bolts removed now, holding the pipes in place, all I need to do is make a path. I need to make a path and clear a path of anything that is in the way of that pipe coming out and the new pipe going in. So just behind here, there's a couple of brackets and stuff which just need to be removed, and I need to just give the water bottle just a little bit of maneuverability to allow that pipe to come out. And you can pretty much see the path I've tried to make and where the pipes need to go. And we also need to make sure that we are disconnected. Right there. Come on. Yeah, there. So we need to make sure that that is disconnected, and we are free to then start removing. So first off, path of least resistance. I literally yanked the end of this off just so it came away at the broken part. It was nice and easy. Next up was the pipe removal that was attached to the bulkhead. It's not a lot of room, so it's just a case of grabbing the pipe and just kind of getting whatever wiggle room you can get out of it, and it does come free. It's pretty easy, to be fair. Oh, it might seem that I got to this point pretty quick, but I didn't. I spent a long time trying to push and pull this pipe, trying to get it out in a one. I just got annoyed with it, so I ended up just cutting it off in sections. And then the last little piece came out the back from the underneath, and that was it. That was pretty much all the pipe work is out of the way. The obvious issue right now is the amount of pieces that came out in. How the hell am I going to get that one really long pipe back in that tiny little space? I don't even know, I'm sweating. It is so warm today. 28 degrees in the shade. Summer's at least landed, at least it's not raining. You know, I'll take that. I genuinely do not know what the plan of attack is now. I think I'm just going to try and thread it in, see what happens, I think. Now, I actually took quite a bit of time just carefully putting the pipe in, taking the pipe out, just to try and make sure that I got the path correct, and then suddenly it just slipped into place. Well, this is the path I took. So with the water bottle out of the way, you've got to kind of go through there with it and thread it as much as you can down, and there's a big bend in it. And then what I did is I got this expert bit of tooling. I got a zip tie, looped it off, and then what I did is I threaded it down the back of the engine, and I looped it around the head. And then with a bit of pulling with one hand on this side and a bit of threading on this side with the other hand and a little bit of, you know, careful negotiation, it went in. And then what I did is I just kind of lined it up with the other pipe, took all the little rubber pieces off. There's like a load of little rubber feet on there to sort of space it out and stuff. I took all them off and it just dropped in pretty much exactly where I need it to be. Now the only issue I can see at the moment is on this bottom end. It's just going to get this, oh, I can't see. It's just getting this head lined up so that it can actually attach to the radiator again, but it's pretty much in place. I'm going to try and reuse some of these because I just like to use the OE pieces if I can, or reuse them wherever I can. So I'm going to be slotting them back in. Come on camera, focus. I'm going to be slotting them back in and trying to button it up. But yeah, so far so good. It's going well. So from the underside, you can see our pipe. And what I did do is I grabbed hold of it, and it needs to kind of navigate around this pipe here. So what I did is I pulled it, kind of got it as pulled down as far as I could, push this pipe back, and you squeeze it up, and it does, if you push it, push, it does go, and it clicks back in pretty much, I don't know if you can see that, pretty much to the place where I need it to be. Oh, I don't know if you can see. Can you see there? So there's our pipe wiggling around, and there's our hole. So you can see it's pretty much just needs a bit of a twist, and then that's pretty much home, which is great, because then the top is exactly the same. Where is it? Up there. There you are. So there's our top one. It's pretty much perfectly in place. So yeah, I'm going to try and get the bottom one. I'm going to try and get the bottom one connected up. I'm going to get that one connected up first, because I can see that one. And then I'm going to drop the car back down on the floor. And then I'm going to attack that top one. So the bottom pipe is in. Thank God that is in. I don't know if you can see. I'll send you up inside the wheel arch again. That is in. Tightened up. Sitting flat. So once that was buttoned up, it was a case of working my way back through, attaching all the brackets and all the bits and pieces I'd removed at the beginning, and start buttoning this up, really, to be fair, because we're pretty much nearly there. And I needed to also install my little rubber spacers, just to make sure there was no sort of contact with bodywork, and any sort of vibrations and all that kind of stuff is taken care of. And then once the car's back on the ground, it's just a case of putting all the little bits and pieces back together, engine cover, all that kind of stuff, and then we can sit back, we can admire our new pieces. It's also worth noting as well, because of the proximity to the alternator belt and things like that, there's just no rubbing or anything like that, and we seem like we've got loads of room, which is fantastic. And then, armed with my DIY gassing kit, my aircon gassing kit, we literally just connect it up, make sure we're holding pressure, disconnect, and replace the cap, and then we are good to go. So that pretty much wraps up the day. It's 31 degrees in the shade because I'm in the garage, and it is absolutely sweltering outside, but the good news is the air conditioning is ice cold. So hopefully you found this useful. If you're suffering with aircon woes, as we were with the split pipe on the Audi, just check out which pipe it is. I mean, that skinny little pipe that ran from the front all the way around and to the back, it was pretty tricky and it was pretty buried, but you know, with a bit of perseverance and a little bit of blue language, let's say, it went in. Getting it in was actually easier than getting it out. I think I was trying to be too delicate trying to get it out, so just go for it, you know, and hopefully your aircon will work beautifully like this one does. So yeah, if you find the video useful, like and subscribe, and come back for more. See you soon. Popped in the driveway, being about you sitting tired from the highway. Tools in a tray, coffee in a stained cup, hands in the engine bay, time to wake it right up. Oil on the floor, jack stands in position. Phone on the fender, filming every little fixin'. Rust on the bolts, but the vision still clean. See the thumbnail already on the screen. Back on the road again. That's a vibe, hit record again.